absolute pleasure to be here on the 4th edition of Jaguar Design Confab. I think what a better place to hold in God's own country, beautiful city, beautiful hotel, and what wonderful people you are. So I think we can give a huge round of applause to ourselves to warm up. Louder. Thank you. I think, before we get into the topic and the evening, I think it's imperative to put two lines: why, who we are, and what do we do. A lot of people are familiar here to me, the gang here and everywhere in the back. But just to let you get a sense as to who we are, ITP Media is the largest foreign publishing firm headquartered out of Middle East. We straddle a spectrum of various magazines across the globe, and we do world's most famous titles like Architecture Digest, Condé Nast Traveler, Harper Bazaar, and many more. The journey in India has been 10 but very significant years. Years by years we grew. So I was a part of the starting team for ITP, and I think what I learned myself in this inning, I think it's all about partnership. When we talk about partnership, something that gets me reminded of cricket, and all of us in this room know Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the cool captain that he is. So media as it is, plays very tough questions. And media at one point of time asked Mr. Dhoni, what is that, the helicopter shots after shots that you make centuries? And media is very curious to know what he's going to say. He kept quiet, smiled, and he said, listen, I don't play for centuries. I play for partnerships. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we believe in partnership, and we're delighted to find partners like Jaquar Group, I think, who stood the time, reposed the confidence in us, and help us to co-create multiple projects such as one of this, sessions and programs and formats which are intriguing, knowledge sharing, and I think a lot to learn from the industry. I have tons to talk, but there are many, battery of some very prolific speakers, and I think each of us will devour the session that unfolds to you. So thank you, and I think it's going to be a great evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we have moved to a very important section of the evening, where we're going to do a special recognition to architect Padma Shri G Shankar. But before that, I think everybody would like to look what an illustrious journey has been for him. We're indeed delighted to have him with us. He's a Bachelor in Architecture from Kerala University, MS from Bingham School of Architecture, UK, with a distinction of first rank. Founder and Chairman of Habitat Technology Group since 1987. Chairman of National Committee to Frame Disaster Mitigant Design Specifications, Government of India. Advisor, Consultant to All India Council for Technical Education, New Delhi. National Institute of Rural Development, Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, and Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, New Delhi. Professor, Design Chair, McCann School of Architecture, Ooty. Consultant to Government of India on Sri Lankan Rehabilitation Package 2010-2012. Mission Chief, Nepal Disaster Mitigation, UNEP. Chairman, Task Force on Housing, State Planning Board, Government of Kerala. Team Leader, International Evaluation Team for Disaster Areas, Sri Lanka and Indonesia, CARTIS International. Visiting faculty to many universities in and outside, University Sweden and the Central University of Philippines. Currently, International Director, Architects Sans Frontières, Paris, France. President, South Asian Coalition of Community Architects. Consultants to various international organizations like Cordiad, Netherlands, Architecture and Development, France, BGS, Germany. Consultant to the Government of Orissa and Uttar Pradesh for school buildings. Consultant to various national NGOs in the shelter sector. Core group member, International Study Team on Traditional Idioms of Architecture, World Council of Churches, Geneva, Switzerland. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Architect G. Shankar. And may I request Mr. Rajesh Mehra to do a felicitation. And I'm sure everybody in this room, like me, would love to hear what you have to say, sir. Would you be here comfortable?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the honors. I just listening with intent to Ms. Patel's presentation on empathy. As I was actually coming down to this conference, just leafing through, glancing through a book. I think Haraki is his name. He talks about a new dimension. He talks about new human agenda. And there's a little, this thing that actually struck me. It says that modernity is a deal. From birth to death, we deal with that. But very few people react to it, come out of it, and find their way. Architecture as a profession is going through challenging times. The question that we have to ask ourselves as a fraternity, that are we really responding to the times? Are we really responding to the realities? The conflict between poverty, environment, and development is a perennial kind of conflict. Is the present day architecture responding to that? Are we ever trying to build up linkages and bridges between the seemingly diverse elements? Are we, as a fraternity, are we bordering on mediocrity? Are we really trying to learn from the legacy of architecture? Are we learning? Is the whole this thing. When I was looking through the presentation, one thing that I will take away from this session is the experiential coefficient of architecture. Once upon a time, we had a huge legacy of architecture which talked about values. Architecture based on truthfulness, architecture based on honesty, architecture which was people-centered. The recent floods that actually affected Kerala has taught us many important lessons. Before I go on further on that, let me also, because there are many people from outside the state. I've been working in this sector for the last 30 years across the world. The kind of social mobilization that has happened after the flood times is something that will go down the history, world social development history, as a model. The kind of mobilization that has happened in Kerala is truly unparalleled. Having said that, it brings us to very critical focus about the land use policies, the building bylaws, the the usage of technologies, where has the vocabulary of beautiful building materials gone? All these issues have to be brought back to focus, and nothing, let me tell you that. We have difficulties, but nothing can hold us back. We will finally overcome without anybody's help. I'm telling you, we are on that process now, and together, the kind of social mobilization has happened, has paved us a way, and we will, with our own meager resources, we will definitely overcome this. We have a huge legacy of architecture. People all over the world continually ask me about the future of architecture. I will say with dil se, with such passion and compassion, I will say that the future of Indian architecture probably is going to come from this small bit of a state, Kerala. When I say that, I say it with such conviction that the future of Indian architecture is going to, I mean, some of the iconic figures, I can see them around in this crowd itself. Some of the iconic figures are going to lead the profession in the coming years in Indian architecture. Kerala architecture, when you really do, where else? I mean, I've been traveling across the world. Where else can we see such a legacy of architecture? Where else can we see such a beautiful vocabulary of building materials, technology, human resources, and the rest of it? We will all build on our resources. We have a legacy, and we build on our strengths. We look at the weaknesses, we will correct ourselves, and we will march forward. With these positive notes, let me thank Architecture and Interiors India and Jaquar Group for giving me this honors. Thank you very much.